Hey there, it's Brett from Booster Therapy. I wanted to take a quick moment before today's video to remind you that in the month of July 2020, we are giving away one custom commander deck valued at about $300 USD to anyone who comments across all of our videos. So we're going to take all of those comments, pick one of them from all of the videos, which we post one a day, and one of you will be the lucky winner. So make sure you're commenting, liking, subscribing to all of our videos, and enjoy! Welcome back to Booster Therapy and another episode of Commanding Presence. We have a fun deck today, another patron build from a Brett's Build part of our Discord group. That's right, if you're a patron of the channel, you get access to our Discord, and there are a lot of fun features, one of them being called Brett's Build, where you set a budget, you send me the budget, and I build a custom commander deck just for you. So this one is for our friend Ryan, who actually has a YouTube channel of his own. It's called Couples Magic. Him and his wife have a lot of fun opening for patrons, opening fun stuff, and just in general talking about Magic and just enjoying the community that Magic has. So please head on over there, Couples Magic. It's a YouTube channel. There's a link in the description below. Click on it, check it out. It's worth stopping by. Again, they sponsored this deck, and this deck is a powerhouse deck. This one's not going to be budget friendly. Just to be very honest at the beginning, there is no friendly budget with this deck, but it is incredibly powerful. It's a lot of fun, and I hope Ryan really gets to enjoy this with his friends, and I hope to God his friends let him play it more than once. So we'll see how that goes. But the commander deck we're breaking down today is a partner pair. We have Brallin Skyshark Rider and Shabraz the Skyshark. So to read what these two do real quick, Brallin is 3 colorless and a red for a 3/3. Whenever you discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Brallin, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. You can pay a red and give a shark trample until end of turn. Shabraz the Skyshark has flying 3/3 for 3 colorless, a white, and a blue. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Shabraz, and you gain 1 life, and then you can tap Azorius for target human to gain flying until end of turn. So what we're focused on here is really the draw and discard. We're going to go crazy and do a Brallin Shabraz Wheels deck. So with this partner pair, we have access to the colors of Azorius, and that is what we're going to really be pushing on today. The first thing, as always, that we like to dive through is going to be our ramp. With this one, we start off with one of my favorite and one of the best white cards printed in recent years, Smothering Tithe. Smothering Tithe is a great card for your ramp. Chromatic Lantern to free up our mana and just fix across the board, so we're never worried about that. It's also just a really good 3-mana ramp spell. Talisman of Creativity. 2-mana ramp is usually that sweet spot, but you'll see we even get a little bit sweeter with this deck. Talisman of Conviction, similar to Creativity, just giving us access to red and white. Mana Vault. I don't know if you've all noticed, but this card has shot up in price. It is scary expensive, and I get it. It's extremely good. Soul Ring, because you couldn't play Commander without it. Mox Amber, one of the fun Moxes that is still legal to play in Commander. Mox Opal, we have a lot of artifacts going on in this deck, so this one's going to be online pretty easily. Mana Crypt, it should be a Mox because it's simply better than. And it's getting reprinted again after just getting reprinted again. Isn't that fun to say? Mox Diamond, the Mox that costs a lot of money, but gives us access to all of the colors. Shockingly, the discard part also helps us. And of course, Lotus Petal, another 0-mana ramp spell. It is a one-hit wonder, but it still helps and gets us there. So that is our ramp for this deck. The next thing we're going to talk through is some of our utility creatures. So again, the goal here is to draw a ton of cards. We're going to be discarding, drawing, and we really want to build as much value as we can off that. The first one is Psychosis Crawler. How this guy reads is its power and toughness is each equal to the number of cards in your hand. So in a lot of cases, it's hopefully 7 almost all the time, 7/7. But when you draw a card, each opponent loses a life. So let's just say we have a really effective turn and we get to wheel twice, 3 times. That's 14, maybe even 21 damage to each of our opponents just because of Psychosis Crawler, on top of Brallin, on top of a lot of the other shenanigans we'll be getting into. The Glinthorn Buccaneer, it's doubling down on the Brallin tactic. So when we discard a card, deals a damage to each opponent. Perforos. We're going to have a fun way to spray tokens as we draw and discard, and Perforos is going to just be another one of those moments of just pinging into that damage. The Chasm Skulker, so for 2 colorless and a blue, whenever you draw a card, it gets that 1/1 counter, so similar to Shabraz, it gets bigger as we draw. And when it dies, you get to put X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk onto the battlefield, where X is the number of counters on it. So this, partnered with Perforos, can be pretty deadly. Neheb Dreadhorde Champion, it gives us access to a creature that lets us wheel. Consecrated Sphinx, it goes crazy with all of the drawing. Consecrated Sphinx, just in general, if you're playing blue, this is a great card to have in your deck. It's super powerful. It's not too broken that it's CADH craziness, but it is pretty deadly. The Locust God, because if we're going to draw cards, we want to make insects as well. The Locust God is one of the most competitive ways to do that, and it partners really well with Perforos. Anger, because we're hoping to discard this. We're going to be drawing and discarding and wheeling so much that getting Anger in the graveyard early on really just helps us to continue on our mission of just clipping in and winning. Brawl, Chief of Compliance. Whenever we cast an instant or whenever we counter a spell, we get to draw and discard. So again, getting that additional value from Brallin and a lot of the other cards we have in the deck. Riel, the Everwise, probably one of the most devastating cards in a wheel deck. This thing pulls us full value off those wheels, so we're discarding 7, drawing 14 every time we do it, which is horrifying. Aven Mind Sensor, this one really is to just tempo our opponents out a bit, really slow down their game, make it so they're not searching for their answers, and really limiting what they can do. A very underplayed card, Aven Mind Sensor, very strong. Next, well, we're doing a lot of shenanigans, and those shenanigans are going to get absolutely hated really early on. So we have to kind of overload ourselves with a lot of answers to those answers. So we're going to play counter spells. Swan Song is the first one of the best counter spells to stop those pesky board wipes and other things that would disrupt us doing what we want to do. Pact of Negation, a nice 0 mana counter spell, so we don't have to keep our mana freed up on our turn. We can just keep pushing those wheels. Stubborn Denial will quickly have a creature with power 4 or greater with Shabraz, so oftentimes this is a 1 mana counter a non-creature spell. Force of Will with the beautiful old school Therese Nilsson, the original artwork. Force of Will, we all know what it does. It's just another really good 0 mana counter spell. Misdirection, again, another good way to play something cheap. We're not going to always have that extra mana freed up, and this is a good way to redirect something that's trying to get in front of Brallin or any of our other big engines. Cryptic Command, one of the most utilized counter spells that gives us a lot of different options. The Nimble Obstructionist, it doubles as us discarding and drawing, which helps with Brallin and Shabraz, but it also counters an activated or triggered ability. Force of Negation, another way to protect our combos and our board state. You can cast this for free when it's not your turn, so that helps us answer some of those deadly cards and not have to leave mana untapped. Fierce Guardianship, the newest counter spell to Commander Magic and probably the best one you could have. Just a traditional counter spell. It works every time. Mana Drain, just strictly better than counter spell, and we should have it. Arcane Denial, this gives us a little extra card draw too. I love playing Arcane Denial. I would always recommend this, especially when you're playing more than one color and blue is in that color. Arcane Denial is a really effective counterspell for Commander. Is It Charm? This one gives us a little bit of utility. We can counter a non-creature spell unless their controller pays 2, but we can also draw 2, discard 2, and get some of that value off of Brallin or whatever our board state is like. And the final one is Flusterstorm, another good one to answer counter spells trying to get in the way of us, or some of those other instants and sorceries trying to deal with us. So that is our counter spell package. Next, we're going to talk about our card advantage and our insane amounts of wheels. So the first one we start with card advantage is Gamble. So we don't mind if we have to discard cards. Again, we're doing that a lot. That's what Brallin wants us to do. Gamble is a great tutor to work with us when we're not playing black is color. So it's just really effective. Mystical Tutor gets us any of our instants or sorceries, so if we need a board wipe or if we need that counter spell, it really helps us put whatever we need to the top, or if we just need to dig for one of our wheels. Rhystic Study, you're playing blue, play Rhystic Study. If asking if they want to pay 2 for Smothering Tithe wasn't enough, Rhystic Study can ask them to pay for just 1 more. Wheel of Fortune. This card has skyrocketed in price. I'm glad Ryan and I jumped on this build when we did. This thing, I think at that time, was even pretty high at about $115, $125. I think it's almost at $200 now. This thing is just up and up and up in price. Wheel of Fortune, it's the classic wheel. Teferi's Puzzle Box, because if we wanted to draw more cards, this is how you do it. Every single turn, everyone gets to draw and have some insane fun. Again, Shabraz getting gigantic, Locust God spitting out tokens. It's just exactly what we're looking to do. Jace's Archivist, it's wheel effect. It's a wheel effect on a stick, so we'll take it. Chandra Flamecaller. This one is kind of a unique ad. Really, we're looking to just zero it, to discard our hands and then draw that many +1. So again, getting all that value to hit Brallin and Shabraz up, to also use things like Riel and get extra value off of the discard. Winds of Change, a really underplayed, criminally underplayed wheel spell. It's 1 red mana. All players shuffle their hands into their libraries and then draws that many cards they originally held. So if you got 7 cards for 1 mana, you're putting them back in the library, drawing 7 new cards, making Shabraz bigger, gaining life, making hopefully some insect tokens. It's just devastating. Echo of Eons, it's like a time twister from the graveyard. You get to do this one twice, so just a really effective card. And again, beautiful Therese Nielsen artwork. Time Spiral, because if Echo of Eons wasn't enough, we want another one. This one also untaps our land, which is great. Reforge the Soul, it's a Wheel of Fortune that we can miracle. Magus of the Wheel, it's another wheel on a stick, just like the Archivist. This is a one and done though. The Archivist you can repeat, but the Archivist is more of a windfall on a stick, when Magus of the Wheel is really a Wheel of Fortune on a stick. Windfall, of course, just mentioned that a second ago. Windfall, another good wheel in blue. Wheel of Fate, it's your Wheel of Fortune in suspense. Burning Inquiry is a nice little mini wheel. It's a good early game play too, if we're just trying to get some of those answers we're not already equipped with. And then Faithless Looting, another one that's just good card advantage. It's repeatable. Again, it buffs up Shabraz, it pings down with Brallin, it does both, which is exactly what we're looking to do as much as we can. That is our wheel effects. Next, we're going to just dive into a little bit of our removal for this deck. The first one we have, of course, is Cyclonic Rift. You can't really play blue effectively unless you have something you can overload, and what better to overload than a Cyclonic Rift? It's just a super effective instant speed board wipe. So if we're going to have to win by tokens, because we couldn't win by Brallin or the other ways we're pinging people down with Perforos, it's great to be able to Cyclonic Rift and then just clip in without really having to worry about too much. Austere Command, this one's just great because you have so many options. If you need to wipe enchantments because you have a lot of big enchantment players, and you have to wipe big creatures because there's some big stompy guy out there with Animar, you can pick those 2 modes and they don't really interfere with our game plan, which is great. Supreme Verdict, it can't be countered and it wipes that board for us. Chaos Warp, it's a nice targeted removal spell, picking one of those deadly permanents on the board that can hit anything. And then, of course, a Path to Exile. Just dealing with that pesky creature that somebody's trying to beat us with, like, you know, Skullbriar or something. The last few cards we're going to talk about here are just some of our extra utility cards, some of our protection for our commanders, and something that really builds on the whole wheel mechanic and really hurting our opponents. So, first one is Swiftfoot Boots. Really, Swiftfoot and Lightning Greaves you'll see here. Both of these are staples for any deck that really wants to keep their commander in play to win. We're obviously doing that mainly with Brallin. We need Brallin out there to win in most circumstances. These just help to keep him alive. Teferi's Protection, because if somebody does have that answer that just trumps everything, this phases us out and keeps us alive for one more turn, or at least the next turn. Grafted Exoskeleton, if you can get this onto Brallin or onto the Buccaneer, whoever's pinging down, we're going to be doing infect damage. So if we can just simply discard 10 cards after this is on there, we will literally win the game. And the last thing is, of course, Narset Parter Avails. We really want to limit the advantage our opponents get from all this wheeling. We're not interested in them drawing too many cards, and Narset is a perfect way to reduce the fun that they're having and really just increase the fun for us. It's also a search for his Canta mechanic, which is fantastic. The last thing is just our land. We're not going to dive too deep into the land. The land, you'll see it in the description below. There's a link down there that actually links out to our TCG player account, our affiliate link. That way, if you want to purchase this deck, you can do it there. You're going to notice it's a very expensive deck. It is super powered. That was the plan all along. Ryan said, give me something that will win. And I said, sure, let's do it. And that's what we came up with. So this is my take on Shabraz and Brallin and all of the wheels you could possibly hope for. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and do all the fun things like leave a comment on the way out. This is Booster Therapy. You have a wonderful rest of your week.